morning everyone, it's Kathy here from Memories Made Magical. Welcome back to my channel. I've come on here just today to show you a little simple clean card that I made today. It's a little Valentine's Day card because I thought obviously Valentine's Day is coming up and I thought my husband deserves a Valentine's Day card, so I thought I would do this little one for him. So it's an A6 card. And it's using the Time for Tea Designs stamps and die cuts. So I've put on here the pro markers that I actually use, the colours for the little rabbit. So we've got Blossom, Cool Grey 2 and Cool Grey 1. And then for the little dog I used Cocoa and Cinnamon and Black just to outline the black. Obviously, if you've got Copic markers or any other brush markers or anything like that, then you can just use the colours that you think suits your card. So it's entirely up to you, but these are just the ones that I used for this particular card today. So I'll take those out of the way for now. And today I'm going to actually show you how I made this card. So firstly, I'm going to show you the little images and the dies that I used. This one is the Cafe Critters stamp set, and if any of you watched my last video, that was a little haul of Happy Mail that I received from Time for Tea. So I used for this particular card, I've used the little rabbit, so I'm going to take that one out ready, and the little dog. So let's take him out as well. There we go. Beautiful stamp set, beautiful quality. So that's that. And then for the little dog and the rabbit, I just got the coordinating dies, the Cafe Critters coordinating dies here, and then I just cut off the rabbit and the dog ready to use for the card. So that's that. And then in the middle for my sentiment, I used the joined up Love You Lots die. So that's also from Time for Tea. So it's Love You Lots large sentiment die if you want to buy that one. And then for the matting and layering, so for the gold piece and the black piece of card there, I used Time for Tea's A6 layers die set. And for this particular card, I used the second largest in the collection and the third. So with this particular die set, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. You get 14 sizes of dies, so that's quite a lot of variation there. So they're the two that I used. So I thought I'd show you how I actually made the card. So let's get started. So what I did first of all was get an A5 piece of card. So that's what we use in the UK, A5. And just to tell you, if you're in the States or anywhere else, that measures 14.8 across, 14.8 centimetres across, and 21 centimetres long. So if I just bring my scoring board in, the scoring board I've got today is my big score, which is by Crafter's Companion, and I've had this scoreboard a very long time, but they do still sell them on Crafter's Companion websites and on Amazon and places like that. And on one side, as you can see here, hopefully you can see, you've got centimetres on the measuring guide there, and then on the other side it's in inches, which is really useful. So today I'm going to use the centimetre side, and to use this board, I just pop that up to the end there, and I'm going to, half of an A5 measures 14.8 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres, so the width I want is 10.5. So you have centimetres and half centimetres on there to make it nice and easy. So I'm just going to score that at 10.5 centimetres. And then, don't know if you all know, but if you're a beginner, when you do a scoring line like that, you get what's called a valley. So what we want to do is actually fold that onto the opposite side and turn it into a mountain. So you've got your mountain fold there, and it stops your card from cracking and creasing too much. So I'll just fold the card and just line it up, and with this scoreboard you get a nice scoring tool with it as well, or bone folder, and then it fits very nicely just in when I put it around the right way. It does fit very nicely into the little slot there. So I'm just going to move my scoring board out of the way. And then what I did next was I made two mats, and I started one with gold and then I put black on top. So I've got a piece of A6 card, and then let me just see if I've got a piece of A6. There we go. So there's a piece of A6 gold card that I used. A6 is just very slightly smaller in length, no, larger in length, but just smaller across in the width than an A2 card. So you can use an A2 either, or A6. And then I just popped the largest die from the A6 layering dies on there, and then just cut off the edge to make the size I wanted for the gold mat. And I won't show you that, I've already cut down a piece that size. I didn't think you'd want to see me putting my card through die cutting machines, because obviously I'm sure we've all got various ones we use. I actually used the Sizzix Big Shot Plus for doing mine. So that's the gold mat. And then again I got a little piece of A6 black card, and I started off with an A4 piece and then trimmed it down to A6, and then I used the size down, which is that one. So that's the third size on the layering dies, and then cut that out and gave me my black mat. And again, as you can see, I've already got one that's actually cut down to size somewhere. There it is. So I'll move that out of the way and move the gold piece out of the way, so that's the right one I want there. So I'll move those two pieces out. There we go. Okay, so we've got our card blank, A6 card blank, and we've got our two mats that we want. We've got our gold one and our black one. So then what we do next, very simply, just find the front of our card, which is there, and we're going to very simply just glue that gold mat down onto our black card. So the glue I used today is art glitter glue, and I've seen this particular glue in a lot of YouTube videos that I've watched, especially from America. So I think art glitter glue is quite big in America, but we can get it over here. I think I bought mine on either eBay or Amazon, and I'm not sure if Hobbycraft do this particular glue, but it's a lovely glue. It's a permanent water-based non-toxic glue, dries acid free. You can use it on various mediums. It's good for paper and card, and it dries permanent, but it also gives you a little bit of wriggle room that you want when you're positioning your piece of card for your or embellishment onto your project. Okay, so I'm just going to put some adhesive on the side onto the back there. So what's nice is that you get with glue rather than sometimes I quite like double-sided tape, but obviously you don't get the positioning time that you need with double-sided tape. So that gives you a little bit more time. If you are a beginner, it's always good to get a craft mat that's got grids and lines on it so that you can actually measure up and make sure that your card is as straight as you can get it. As long as you line it up straight first, which I haven't done. There we go, that's better. And then you can just literally just leave a little black border all around. Try and get that straight as we can. I've been crafting quite a very long time now, so I do a lot of it by eye. But what you could do is take your ruler. It's probably about, let's have a look and see what the edge is. It's probably about 1/4 centimetre edge all the way around, top and bottom and at the sides. And then we're going to take our black piece, get some more glue. Here we go. And the lovely thing about this glue is that it dries completely clear. So you can see it on white. To position it, you know where you're going with the glue, and then it dries completely clear. So again, we want about the same distance all the way around. Just got this little gold border. There we go, I think that's about right. There we go. And then the next thing I did was I used my Love You Lots die and I cut it twice because I wanted to give it a little bit of a shadow, drop shadow, and the camera probably doesn't do it justice, but it has actually, I've done 2 layers. I've done the black and then the red on top, just to give it a slightly raised 3D look as well. So, to do the die cutting for my little dies, I've got Crafter's Companion Gemini Mini, and I find that this is a really useful little manual die cutting machine for all your small dies. So, and it comes with a little plastic carrier, and it looks quite warped, but that's absolutely fine. You can just flip it over and use it the other way and it'll work perfectly fine. So I'm just going to trim down a piece of black card, because to go through here you need, it's got like just over a 3-inch opening, and the carrier is 3 inches across by 6 inches long. So you want a piece of card or paper that's around about the same size. So I'm just going to get my trimmer, let's pop that into place. I'm going to cut this, I'm going to cut it just over 3 inches. So a tiny bit over 3 inches just there. It's good to make sure it's big enough for my die. And as long as that's no bigger than 6 inches, we'll be fine. That's under, so that's good. So then I take my Love You Lots die, and then what you want to do is, that's the cutting edge, so you want to turn your die over, pop it down like that, make sure it fits the piece of card, which it does, because that's about 3 inches, just under 3 inches, slightly over 3 inches rather, the die across. So I get a couple of bits of tape just to hold my die down. And then pop that into my carrier sheet, plastic carrier wallet. which goes in nicely. I'm just going to hold it down because, as I say, it is a bit warped, but that's completely normal. That's what happens with it, with a bit of use, but it doesn't make it unusable, which is good. It's got lovely rubber feet, little rubber suckers, and they do stick nicely onto your mat. And then just give it a little bit of a help, and then literally just run it through. There we go. And when you hear that crack or you click, I mean, people with die cutting machines know that that's perfectly normal. But if it's your first time for using a die cut machine and you think, oh no, I've broken it, you haven't, because that's just the pressure of the two plates either side of each other, two rollers, actually just going through the card. So that's completely normal. So then we just take our, you can actually paper piece with the inside bits, but today I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to get rid of that. And then I use a pokey tool. This one's by Cricut. But you can get lots of little pokey tools just to get the inside of your die out, the middle bits. And they're lovely, really good quality, really good results with the Gemini Mini. Comes out nice and clean. And then on the back of the die you've got the usual little holes just to poke the rest of your die out. There we go. Come that nicely and cleanly. So you probably can't see that at the moment. So what I'm going to do is get a piece of white card, just pop that down. And there you go. There's the lovely lots, all joined and really nice. Okay, so then I'm going to, because I'm going to do the slight drop shadow, as I said, I'm going to take my red piece of card. This one's got a slight pattern on it. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. It's got a slight sort of bows and flowers pattern on it, but you can use any red card you want. But I just thought this colour of this is a bit like Pillar Box red, and it's Valentine red. So again, I'm just going to bring my trimmer in. And I'm going to cut my piece of card just over 3 inches. There we go. This is a Fiskars trimmer I'm using here. You can put you can get blades, different blades you can use. I've got a cutting blade here. You can also buy a scoring board, so you can use it, a scoring plate, no, I'll get it right in a minute, a scoring blade as well, which you can put on there, so you can score and cut with it. Fabulous, useful little tool. And then what I want to do is, that's my piece of card I've got there, so I'm going to position my die back onto there, put my pieces of tape just down to hold it, and then again put it into my carrier sandwich. Always have it facing down, because then the cut edge is going to go and have it the right way around. I might have had that slightly more, bigger than 3 inches, but hopefully it'll still go in. So just help it in, and then run it straight through. I've got two large die cut machines. I've got the Sizzix Big Shot Plus, as I said, and I've also got the A4 Grand Caliber by Spellbinders. And it's good to have a nice big machine, but obviously to do big dies and big projects, but it's also equally nice to have a little one for all our little character dies and little tiny embellishment ones as well. So this is a little mini die cut machine that I would recommend, especially, as I say, especially if you're a beginner. It's not very expensive, but it's well worth it. I'll take these little pieces out. You don't want to come out. There we go. Get rid of our little bits of rubbish as we go along. Oh, that's It's all come off into the sandwich. Okay, so there we go. And again, I'm just going to poke out the die just using my pokey tool. Crystal. Also use it as a hook just to get it off. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pop that down onto my white card so you can see that. And there's the black one. So we've got two images, one in black and one in red. So the next thing for me to do is to glue them together. So I want the red on top and I want the black underneath. Just going to put my card there for reference. Okay, so I'm going to turn my red one over. And I'm going to just put some glue all around. The nice thing about this art glitter glue as well is that you can get a metal nozzle with a very, very fine tip. So it's really good for accurate positioning of your glue, especially when you've got tiny little die cuts and embellishments that you want to pop on your cards. There we go. That's that. I'll put that out of the way. So I'm going to give it a very tiny little drop shadow. Just to give it a little bit of 3D look. There we go. You can see it probably better because it's got the white background on there, so you can just see let's get the glue off, but you don't want it. It just rubs off very easily, which is good. And then you have a look. You can just see, if the camera can pick that up, you can just see a tiny little drop shadow behind it of the black. So it gives it a little bit of a dimension to the eye. So then I'm going to bring in my base card and I'm going to pop a little bit more glue on the back of this. You could put it up, you could position it onto your card with some little foam pads, some little square foam pads to give it a bit of dimension. I got these from Hobbycraft, but I've decided just to keep it nice and clean and simple and just have it flat up against the card. So I'm just going to pop some glue on the back of this now. You could also use silicone glue. Put little dots of silicone glue, which will also give you a little bit of height, a little bit of dimension if you don't want to use little sticky dots. Those sort of 3D foam pads. Entirely up to you. As I say, because I'm just doing a clean and simple card, I just thought anything flat. So I can get my sentiment. Again, always a good idea, especially if you're a beginner, to straighten up the card up against the grid first. And take your sentiment, and then what I did was put it about in the middle of the card. So again, by eye, roughly, as long as that's straight, about there. And just push it down. Any little bits of glue that's there, just rub away. I'm just a bit of a perfectionist because obviously once it's all dry, you won't see it anyway. So there we go. So that's looking okay. So that's the sentiment done. So now we're going to go on to the stamping of the little, actually, no we won't. What we'll do is just carry on. What we're going to do now is cut out the little hearts. Now, the little hearts die that I used wasn't from Time for Tea. It was just in one of my all occasions dies. So it's just a little tiny heart-shaped die. And obviously because it's a Valentine's Day card, I thought I'd use that. So, get a little piece of card again that's going to fit my Gemini Mini. A little bit of tape, just to tape it down. This is just low tack tape that I've used. It's actually a little set of masking tape or low tack tape that I bought from Crafter's Companion, and it comes in all different colours, and it's quite low tack, and it's a little bit like washi tape, but we call it masking tape over here. You can get washi tape now over here, which comes in obviously lovely patterns and things and colours. That was just one that I bought. And then pop that into the carrying again. Oops, let's get this straight. Sandwich it down, feed it through. So I've got 4 hearts on my little card. I'm going to do it 4 times. It's nice and quick and easy using a little die cut machine with a little carrier like this. You've got to get all your plates together again. Literally takes a couple of minutes. Pick that out. And then we just want one more. There we go, so I'm going to put that die to one side. And then there's my 4 little hearts. And now we're going to do a little bit of stamping, just to stamp the little rabbit and the little dog. So I'm just going to move my dies over a little bit and give myself some room. So the stamping platform that I use, because obviously there's a lot on the market, the Misty, that I think a lot of ladies in America seem to use. And we've got various platforms over here, including one by Crafter's Companion, but the one I'm using today that I really like is the Tonic Studios by Tim Holtz one, and then you've got multi stamps that you can use. You've got one side to put clear stamps on, hopefully you can see that. Oh, I think my ring light's bringing a little bit of a a blur, apologise about that. And then on the other side you've got rubber stamps. So literally what you do is you just put that down. You have your magnets and then you put a little bit of card. So I've got a little bit of card for my stamping. Just put that in. Put my magnets, make sure the magnets don't ever come next to each other because otherwise they will snap. And then I'm going to get my 2 little stamps that I want. I'm just going to just position them where I want them. On there, just pull it down and it picks up nicely. Go. There you can see how clingy they are. And then to stamp my images, I'm going to use Tuxedo Black Memento fade resistant dye ink. This is for lasting impressions, and it's as I'm using pro markers to colour in my stamps, this is a really good stamp dye to use rather. So I'm just going to stamp up my images. Go. And literally just bring the platform down. Give it a nice little press. Sorry about the ring light. You'll go in a minute. And then 2 crisp and clear little images on there. So let's get that out of the way. Hopefully you won't see my ring light anymore. That's better. Okay, oops. So there's my little bunny and my little dog. So as I said, I used for the little dog, I used cinnamon and cocoa. But what I did first was cut them out. So I'm going to do that. So I get my coordinating dies, line them up. So there's the rabbit, a little bit of tape just to hold him down. Go. And just want a little bit more tape. For the dog, so I get my little dog coordinating die, pop him down. There we go. Sometimes I colour them in first and then cut them out, but just for today, just for speed, I'm going to cut them out first and then colour them in. But again, if you are a beginner and you're not sure about cutting them and colouring them in because they're quite small, then just colour them in first and then put your dies, put them through the dies. But it's entirely up to you which way around you do it. So I'm just going to take that out. Take the tape off. And then he'll pop out nicely once I've got the tape off of him. Okay, that's him. And there's the little rabbit, comes straight out. Beautiful. There you go, so really good quality dies from Time for Tea Designs. Okay, so I'm just going to get myself a little piece of paper. Might get a little bit of black paper so it shows up the rabbit and the dog. And I'm going to get Coco, and I'm just going to give him a little bit of outline, just literally just around the edge. There he is. And I've got black for his nose. There we go. And then I'm going to take the cinnamon, which is a lighter shade. Just go literally just all over him. I've never professed to be very good at colouring. See, I know there's a lot of talented colourists out there among the community. But I think as long as it just... The stamps actually forgive people that aren't that good at colouring, because they're such nice stamps, and they've got character. Their little faces already. So there's my little dog. And then for the rabbit, I gave her blossom for her little pink nose. And then I put a little bit pink in the middle of her ears, just to look like the side of her ears. And then I used cool grey 1. Just go all over her. And pro markers, if you're not aware of them, because I bought these probably about 15, 18 years ago. I bought a collection of pro markers when they were very popular. Obviously Copic came along afterwards, and Sakura markers, other types of markers. These are actually alcohol based, so they're permanent alcohol based markers, and they're really good for blending. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of cool grey 2, just a little bit of shadow. As I say, I'm not that good at colouring. I've got to start learning a little bit more about colouring and knowing where to put my shadow and things. Obviously I know there's some fantastic YouTube videos to watch. But I think as long as he looks like a rabbit, I'm quite happy. Or she looks like a rabbit actually, because I think she's a little girl. And then what I did, obviously because when you die cut them you get a little white border around. So what I did was just went around the border. With black. Sometimes you can just leave it if you want to, but I thought because I'm putting it onto a black card, that would be quite effective, just to make a thick black line around the stamp. There we go, and I've left her little tail white on there. Oops, now I've got to do my little doggy. So I'm using the fine end, this Pro marker, because if I can just show you, you've got a fine end here, if you can see that, and then there's a chisel end as well. As I say, I've had these pens for about 15, 18 years, and they're still going strong. Obviously I don't think I've given them heavy use, but that's probably why they've lasted so long. But I have used them quite a lot, and they're still fabulous. And with Pro markers, you just have to make sure that you store them horizontally, because if you store them standing up, then they will dry out. So you want to store them lying down. It's probably the same as Copics, I think. Possibly because they're alcohol markers, not sure. Technical side of it. Or the science, I just know that I've always been told to store them laying down. And I've just seen that I just missed a little bit of little dog's ear. It's got a little bit of white. So I'm just going to go over him a little bit. And that's a nice thing, you can, with these, you can build up the colour again by leaving one layer to dry and then going over it again. And although I'm no professional when it comes to colouring, I do find it very therapeutic and relaxing. And I think with Little Rabbit, I'm going to give her a little bit more of a darker shade. And go straight over the pink and it won't harm it. These are fully blendable as well. Here we go, there's my little rabbit. So then what I did was just put my card in and pop a little bit of glue. That's my finished card. Pop a little bit of glue again on my little dog. There we go. And I just positioned him just on the U there. Oh, made him a little bit darker, so he looks a little bit different, so that's good. It's always nice. You can make two cards the same and they always end up looking different, which is fine. And then that's the nice thing about obviously handmade things. Each one is unique. No two are ever the same. That's what gives handmade and handcrafted items their specialness. And then just remembered what I did with this one was I put the little heart underneath the rabbit, so then it looks as though she's giving her heart to the little puppy dog. I was going to see where I positioned that. I think it was difficult to tell there, about there, I think. There we go. And then we can put the little bunny onto the card. Looks like she's holding the little heart to give to the dog. Pop her on there. There we go. And then all that's left to do is just to stick our three little hearts that are left onto the card. Tiny bit of glue. So pop one there, let's turn it slightly. Okay. I really would recommend getting the metal tip to use, because obviously you get such accurate positioning and you can do it in such fine detail. You're gluing, which is good. Got a lot more control over flow of the glue as well. So pop them down, and then we just want one down here. And we're going to go out that way, just to give a little bit of symmetry to the card and balance. I just like to give a little bit of balance to the card. That's all going to dry off well. So there you go. That's how easy that was. Didn't take very long at all. So you could quite easily do batch cards quite quickly, like this, maybe for craft fairs or friends and family, something like that. I hope you enjoyed watching that. I really enjoyed making this video today. If you did enjoy it, please click the subscribe button and maybe click the notification bell so that you can see when I load up other videos. And I shall be back very soon, hopefully, with another video. Until then, take care and happy crafting.